Out of courtesy to your fellow guests, as well as to those on stage, please take a moment to silence your phone. Personal photography and video recording are not permitted unless otherwise noted. For your safety, please note your nearest exit. In the event of an emergency, Horowitz Center staff members will assist you. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you again soon.
Save My Black Soul by Evan Carrington. Prologue. The stage is still, lifeless. Suddenly a group of actors walk in. They stand in a single file line facing the audience. The lights are dim. Aside from a spotlight where the first actor stands.
Every race, man and woman, should cast aside their skepticism regarding the Negro's ability as a motion picture star.
An actor takes a seat in an empty chair, setting a precedent for others to follow.
When someone said, "Why do you always play handkerchief heads?" I said, "Hell, I'd rather play a maid than be one."
Another actor takes their seat.
Artists are the gatekeepers of truth. We are civilization's radical voice. Through my singing and acting and speaking, I want to make freedom ring.
Another actor follows suit.
An Oscar nomination? That would be a very satisfying thing, I'm sure. I would appreciate the thought. It would be like taking off your hat as an actor to all the people who walk through you.
Then another actor.
Now get this. When all the Negroes was going around straightening their hair and bleaching themselves trying to be white and thought improvement was white, in them days I was proving the world that black was beautiful. Me.
Then another.
If you're not invited to the party, throw your own.
And another. Leaving a young man, Edward Foster, early 30s, at the front, he recites a portion of a monologue.
I reckon that our paths ain't never gonna cross again. Go back over.
Sorry, y'all weren't meant to be in Westerns. Edward is disappointed, but undeterred, he recites another piece.
But soft. What light through yonder window brings? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise!
Can you make your eyes out just a little bit more?
He takes the demeaning note in stride, playing to another side of space.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar, the noble Brutus.
Sorry, I don't think the American people are ready for that quite yet.
Edward is frustrated. His heart is hardly in it anymore, but gives it one last shot.
When I do the hoochie coochie in the sky.
No, that ain't it at all. Move like you've got ants in your hands. You know how y'all do.
Edward has had it as he continues to get different notes from different directors. He gets a script and goes over to his seat.
Now, we've got some Butler parts available. That would suit you well. Wait, how many of these race films have you been in? No, that ain't what the Negro people would want. You gotta do it this way.
Edward puts his face in his hands. Beat. He takes a deep breath and looks through the script. Act 1, Scene 2, Scene 1. As the young man takes another breath, the lights come on. Los Angeles, 1946. A small group of African-American actors are in a cattle call for a motion picture in pre-production. They are practicing lines, doing vocal warm-ups, etc. In the group, Edward stands out, but not for any merit of skill or eye-popping trait. He just seems content as he cautiously casually flips through the slides and looks around the room, which gradually gets more and more claustrophobic. A tall, deep voice actor named Dexter Lewis, mid-30s, casually strides through the room. He's a veteran of the screen and stage, and as soon as he enters, everyone takes notice. Unfazed by the attention and chatter, he sits in the chair next to Edward. Edward glances at him for a second, but looks back at his script.
Looking at me like I'm Jesus or something.
Well, you inspired a lot of people.
That's right.
After collecting himself, Dexter gets a good look at Edward and remembers him from somewhere.
I'll be damned. Eddie?
Eddie puts his script down and gives full attention to Dexter begrudgingly.
Man, what you been up to? I ain't been seeing you around lately.
They shake hands.
I've been doing more stage work.
Oh, Lord, Bob.
Theater, man. But I'm just dipping my toe back in, seeing what's up.
Well, stage work is good work, but ain't no money for it out here. You know, you are always solid. Big parts are hiring plenty.
Nothing on stage is a big part, though. If you shine, everyone's gonna see.
If you get the chance to shine.
Beat. Edward knows he may be right deep down. Dexter knows he's had it in.
Keep coming out. You'd be surprised what you can find.
I don't know, man.
It can always lead to something more.
That ain't always the case for me. I'm tired of tap dancing when I can show them more.
Shit, who are you telling? I got booked to do Othello, but the studio wanted to give my part to Olivia. They were going to try old boy out in some damn blackface. Thought he would draw more overseas. So my black ass told him I'd do a solo before I offend myself. And those white boys were happier than Klansmen on election day. I'll tell you that. They'll want you to sing and dance before they take you serious. I've been to Broadway and back, made over $1 million, kissed a white woman. But for some reason, I still gotta prove myself. And for what exactly?
Exactly.
They'll look at you and see brown, they'll never think about seeing green.
Sounds about right. You can be big time and everything, but you still be right back here at the cattle call. So who you going for? Big Roger?
Going for it. I already got the part. They just wanted me to read with the buttons.
Edward is shaken, but tries to continue unfazed. Then the stage glows red as the sound of the door opening is heard. All the actors look in the direction of the door as if it's routine.
Hey, Dex, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. We're ready for you to read with this one.
Break a leg, brother.
Dexter Lewis hums to himself, still keeping his confident stride all the way off stage. Everyone goes back to normal. Edward sits to himself, confidence shocked. An actress by the name of Diane Spears, in her early 30s, looks in his direction.
You ain't have the heart to tell him, did you?
Tell them what?
How you thought that you had a shot to go for Big Roger?
I'm sure he already knew.
Must be nice.
What?
How y'all Negroes just get parts before you walk in a room? Or at least some of y'all Negroes.
Edward looks at the woman, astonished.
And who are you supposed to be?
Boy, you gonna find out soon enough when I get my Oscar.
She. For what? Maid number 2?
I think you mean jazz singer. And one that is leading in a picture with Cap Calloway and Nat King Cole.
So you sing.
And act, yes.
Then why are you stuck at the cattle call with me, Mrs. Big Time?
Ms. Big Time, first of all. And second, the picture ain't been released yet. But once it does, then you'll see. I've been practicing my acceptance speech for as long as I can remember.
Edward goes back to his script.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how much Hollywood loves your little black race films.
Diane is insulted, but fires right back.
Well, you ain't exactly been lighting up the screen lately anyway. Wait, aren't you that cab driver that was in that one film Dexter Lewis was in?
Maybe.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if you get more screen time as a butler.
Diane chuckles a bit before going back to her script. As she does, Edward looks off into the distance. Suddenly, the only person seen on stage is Edward. The sound of the door opening is heard again and smoke comes out. This time an actor comes out, Strutting and laughing, Edward looks on.
I gotta say, thank you, sir. Next time I can come through with a walk. I know I already done told you. I ain't working today, Mr. Boss Man. Hey, shine your own shoes, sing the blues. I'm gonna go back to my house with my bed and my booze. That's what I'm talking about.
The actor looks back at Edward as he stops laughing.
What you looking at?
The actor regains his composure.
I'm gonna see y'all again next time. Y'all already know I can fetch with the best of them.
As he leaves, the lights are full again. Everyone is prepping for their turn to audition. Edward is still staring off, less than fulfilled.
Do you get tired?
Of what?
Going by their standards. Being fed crumbs when you know you deserve a full meal.
What the hell are you talking about?
Us. All of us. Don't you get tired? We gotta be on film tap dancing for Massa, driving them around, waiting on them hand and foot.
That's how you play the game. Once you get big and you end up like Dex, you just step over all of that.
That ain't big.
Then what is?
When we don't gotta pack out cattle calls for big parts. When we can show the world that some black-faced white boy shouldn't have to play Othello, but that we are every bit as talented as they are. When we can show them that just playing some maid or butler is a disservice to what we have to offer. When we can show them that we can command the stage, shine on screen, and just be as good as anybody that they got out there in those back lots.
After getting lost in his soapbox moment, Edward finds himself standing up alone and with everyone else in the cattle call looking at him.
Boy, you auditioning for the NAACP.
Everyone laughs. Edward sits back down, a little embarrassed, but undeterred.
You watch. I'm gonna have my own theater one day. Train up some actors, and we're gonna make it. Watch.
Right. I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do. As soon as that door opens, you're gonna go through it, just like everybody else. Because you need to eat, just like everybody else. You're all high-minded brothers. You always talk about changing the world and making things better for color folks, but who is gonna help me pay my bills today? You over here acting like you about something. Boy, I promise you, as soon as your pockets get light, this whole W.E.B. Du Bois Act is gonna go right out the window.
The sound of the door opening is heard. The stage goes red and everyone looks at the door, still trained. Edward Foster, we're ready for you. Edward is vacillating. He wheels himself back up on his feet and walks off stage.
Go get him, Tiger.
Some trumpets are heard. Diane goes right back to reading her script, even though she can't help but think about what just happened. Blackout. Act 1, Scene 2. A few moments later, auditioners are still going over their lines and practicing. Diane is trying hard to memorize her lines.
No, ma'am. I have no idea what happened to the silverware. I was right tired and just had to go to bed. Maybe you should ask Claudine. She was down here last. She should know a thing or two. But Mrs. Johnson, I've already said that. Oh! Yes, I'll go back upstairs. Ooh. I wish she would try to slap me. And she better not try to skip out on no rehearsals, too. This face is going to be seen by millions someday.
The audition room doors open again and everyone pays attention. Edward walks out without his sides.
Yes, Mr. Du Bois, how'd you fare? Did you stand tall and proud, or did your stomach rumbling and get a little bit too loud?
I told them I couldn't do it.
Diane can't believe it. She shoots straight up from her chair, almost out of instinct, disbelief, or astonishment. Take your pick.
Negro, why?
I couldn't go through with it.
Negro, why?
I deserve better. I'm tired of settling.
Well, what did they say?
That I was a fool, and that I'll never find work in this town again. Dex backed me up, told them to leave me alone. Let me walk.
How do you expect to survive then? You gotta take what they can give you.
Edward stands up.
There just ain't no living in that. The more we lay down, the more we show them how useless we really are.
Well, ain't you just the proudest?
Look here. Wait, I don't even know your name. Anyway, I don't expect you to understand. This role may be right for somebody, but it ain't right for me. I've been out here for years trying to prove my worth to people who are never gonna see me as anything other than someone that can shine shoes and clean bathrooms. That's all that Hollywood's offering, and there ain't nothing here out there for me. I know that I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna do it my way on my terms.
Beat. Diane seemingly adjusts what Edward says and takes a step closer towards him.
You about the craziest Negro I've ever seen.
There is some laughter again among those who are listening in on this lively conversation. Edward shakes his head but stays determined.
Laugh it up. They call Gilpin crazy too.
Who?
Charles Gilpin? Emperor Jones?
Can't say I'm familiar.
Well, he took a stand. Told his director that he was tired of saying nigger all the time. He stuck to his guns.
And his ass got fired, right?
Edward is in awe of Diane's candor.
You just love running that mouth. I guess acting suits you well.
These hands suit me well too. Not too many people say that and walk away.
Understood? I'll see my way out. But look me up if you ever find yourself out in New York.
Mama's house?
Edward puts on his hat and smirks at Diane. He makes his exit.
Hey, Edward.
Edward turns around before he exits.
Diane. Diane Spears.
I'm worthy of knowing your name, girl.
It's not like I'll ever see you again.
Beat. Edward shakes his head again before he exits. Diane walks back to her chair.
NAACP as Negro.
Once Diane gets to her chair, she starts going over the script again. She looks around the room, then up at the ceiling. She can't focus and lets out a big sigh. Suddenly, the audition room door opens again. Everyone in the room looks over at the stage, goes red.
Miss Diane Spears, we're ready for you.
Diane grabs her belongings and sighs. She motions towards the audition room, but stops for a second and looks in the direction that Edward exited. Mentally, she shakes it off and walks over to the audition room. Flashlight. Act 1, Scene 3. The next evening. Edward is in a cramped apartment. He's packing some items in a suitcase. The state of the apartment suggests that he lives modestly, but also doesn't have too much to pack. After he finishes his clothes, he packs items on a dresser by his bed. Among the items are 2 letters. Edward picks up the first one and reads it.
You old cockbuster. I gotta hand it to you. You sure stuck it to the house today. I ain't think you had it in you, truth be told. Let me know how to reach you once you get over east. I got some seed money I'm gonna send your way. Keep fighting the good fight, brother.
Edward smirks and puts it down, but notices the other letter. He picks it up delicately and reads it. As he reads it, he moves closer to center stage.
Ed, let me tell you, my son, we are so proud of you. You already know, ain't nobody in our family made it out to California, let alone past Mississippi. You know you always had a gift for telling stories and acting up, so I guess now you should go on ahead and get paid for it. You got something inside of you that can't nobody take away from you. Don't you dare settle or let somebody out there try to make you into what you ain't. That ain't nothing but dumb. To the fact of what really matters, you are strong, Eddie. You got backbone. And you know that you is hard-headed too. Whoever God sends your way is gonna have a tough time getting you to listen sometimes. But y'all are gonna be fine. Oh, and maybe once you get a little big for those britches, you can get us out to California someday. I wanna be out there on the beach, like them white women be doing in the movies. Don't tell your daddy that I already got a bathing suit.
And he laughed.
We will always be here to support you, my son, Eddie, and we will always love you. Remember, when you feeling tested, just look up, because that means he ain't done with you yet. See you soon, my son. Love, Mama.
Eddie folds the letter and sheds a tear. He looks up at the ceiling.
sure hope you're right, Mama.
Edward kisses the leather and puts it in his pocket. Once he finishes packing, he takes one last look around the space and turns off the light before leaving. Blackout. Act 1, Scene 4, 1947, New York City. 3 young actors, 2 female, 1 male, late teens, early 20s, arrive in what appears to be an empty theater space. They are carrying their belongings and are casually dressed but appropriate for the time period. They are walking about the stage, bewildered and somewhat afraid, yet intrigued by the possibilities.
Hello?
Shh! You got a big sign on your forehead saying, "Kill me, please."
What else am I supposed to do then? Maybe someone's here.
Or maybe not. I didn't come from Boston just to get killed in some rat-infested city.
Hey, I live down the street.
So,
Aren't you charming?
and why aren't you scared?
When you come from the South, not much tends to faze you, honey.
Woman 2 walks ahead, a bit surveying the space.
How bad are they down there, really?
Don't matter. Slice off a finger or a thumb, and you still only got 4 fingers.
What does that have to do with anything?
At least somebody's asking the right questions.
You know what?
The argument gets to the point that it's almost inaudible. While they're arguing, a light turns on, revealing Edward, who is standing on a platform. The group is shocked at first, but Edward eventually gets recognized.
I was expecting you all 10 minutes ago.
Edward Foster?
Yes, but call me Mr. Foster.
Sorry, Mr. Foster.
Edward Foster jumps off of the platform.
You're the head of this theater group?
Yes, ma'am.
And you'll help us to get in show business?
Well, it depends on what you gain from the experience.
How much experience do you have exactly?
Man 1 breaks from the pack, almost sizing Edward up, trying to get a feel for him.
With all due respect, you were just waiting around in the dark. There's no one else here, and no offense, but you ain't no Dexter Lewis.
Edward laughs and smiles a bit.
And you are?
Just saying. How's he gonna get us any further than we already are?
What are your names?
Dolores Gray. I grew up right here in Harlem. Parents come up doing vaudeville. I come from a big family, and we went on tour as kids. Figured I'd give it a shot now that I'm grown.
Mabel Simmons, Montgomery, Alabama. Studied at this. And
Mabel takes a moment.
I'm never going back to the South.
Her statement resonates. Everyone looks on at man 1. He is silent until Dolores nudges him.
John James Davis, Boston School of Theater for Negroes. Always knew I could make it big. Seeing your ass seemed like I had a good shot.
Impressive. All of you.
Edward walks around for a brief moment.
Yes, I am Edward Foster. And to Mr. Davis's point, no, I'm not Dexter Lewis. But I can still offer you something that he can't.
What would that be?
Strong, meaningful roles that will sharpen your skills and won't demean you.
Looks like we aren't getting paid.
You don't become a success overnight. Sometimes it takes 2 nights, right?
Dolores chuckles a bit, but no one else does.
What? They teach that in vaudeville?
Dolores glares at him.
They teach that in vaudeville. Gum meter.
Mabel shushes them both so Edward can continue.
I can't guarantee that you all will get much money. But what I can offer you is full training. Whether you want to be in Broadway or big motion pictures. I'm going to start you all off in roles in several theatrical productions with live audiences. Maybe even some scouts.
What's the catch?
No catch. A good actor needs to consistently sharpen their skills, right? And to have their work seen so that they can get more work, right?
The group looks uninspired. Edward realizes that he's going to have to dig deep in order to get his potential cohort of students to stay.
They don't care about you.
Who?
Hollywood, the movers, the shakers. You're only as good, you'll only go as far as they want you to go. You can have all the talent, all the experience and training in the world, but at the end of the day, it won't matter to them. In their eyes, you should be thankful for making the seamless transition from butler number 3 to cab driver number 1.
You sure you ain't just bitter, Mr. Foster?
Edward laughs.
Bitter?
He makes eye contact with John James now.
No, not bitter. See, I got my eyes open now. They ain't never going to respect us if we keep accepting the crumbs they throw at us. The only way that we're going to get respect is if we show them that we don't need them. That means we got to start building for ourselves, make our own theaters, sell out our own shows, even make our movies if we can. That's why I want to bring actors like you all from every which way. My job isn't to send you out there to be assembly line Negroes, but to give you all the chance to show the world that y'all can do more, that our people can do more.
Younger actors listen, hanging on to his every word.
I may not be able to promise y'all much, but what I can promise is this. I'll do everything that I can to push you to achieve your fullest potential. If that's not enough, then I understand.
Edward motions to the door. No one moves.
Good. Let's get to work then. How many of you guys have heard about improv?
John James raises his hand. Looks like I'm ahead.
Not for long. You learn fast. Right, boys?
Yeah, send you on the first thing smoking back to Boston.
This isn't a competition, guys. Spread out.
Everyone goes to different portions of the space.
Before we start, we're going to do some stretches for a bit. Do what makes you comfortable.
Before Edward can finish, a young man, African-American, late teens, early 20, barges through the front door of the space and closes it with haste. He looks behind him to make sure that he wasn't immediately followed. He's breathing heavily and has yet to acknowledge anyone that was already in the space.
Excuse me, sir. Can I help you?
Not unless you can get that damn fuzz off my back.
The youth continues to look through the window. Inconspicuously, Edward studies him.
What's your name?
Man, I plead the fourth.
I think you mean fifth.
Whatever, I believe that too.
Edward motions to his new students to fall back. He walks close to the new guests.
Maybe I can help you, but I have to know who you are first.
The youth looks puzzled.
And how are you gonna help me?
Well, for starters, it looks like you need to be someplace long enough for whoever's chasing you to lose interest. And I'm the only thing keeping you from a long night, busted lip, or worse.
Edward extends his hand. The youth weighs his options. Eventually, he caves in.
Sam Nelson.
Edward has a smile on his face. His students look a little confused, particularly John James.
And I'm Edward Foster. Feel free to come in and join us until the coast is clear.
So, what do y'all do?
We're an up-and-coming theater group looking to develop young, colored actors.
Actors. Like, in the movies?
He's a bright one, Mr. Foster.
Yo, what you said?
Sam rushes John James, but Edward quickly breaks it up.
Hey, our people ain't getting nowhere if we tear each other down. So that's not what we're going to do here.
Sam and John James back up from each other.
Movies, plays. See, we can do it all. But we're going to start by doing it ourselves.
How? I don't see no cameras.
John James rolls his eyes and gets nudged by Mabel. Edward smiles.
Let's partner up. Dolores, you're with John James, and Mabel, you're with Sam.
The group partners up as Edward gives out instructions. His words are becoming less audible as Sam and Mabel get the spotlight. They settle on opposite sides of the space as John James and Dolores.
I ain't never did nothing like this before.
It's all right. We're all here to learn. Mrs. Salsa believe me. Take a chance on you like that.
What you think he saw?
I don't know, but stick around long enough and you just might find out.
Maybe I will.
The lights are full now. Everyone is in the ready stance to warm up.
And go.
Blackout. Act 2, Scene 1. 1952. Edward's Harlem Theater Space. Diane Spears walks in the theater space with a paper in her hand.
Hello.
Diane reads from the paper.
Come join the Negro Theater Company, where your talents and skills will be appreciated and cultivated. Sounds just like his ass.
Diane looks around the space. She sees portions of it partially built.
This Negro actually did it.
Yes, he did.
Edward makes his way on stage from around the corner, startling Diane.
Over here sneaking up on women. I see going back to your mama's house didn't get you any manners.
And I see you're still running your
Diane folds her arms, waiting for Edward to resort.
things. Running things out in Hollywood. I saw the movie you and Dex did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't really get the story, but those two brothers were something. Dancing around, one jumping on top of the other, and everything. Shoot.
Edward waits for a short beat before tending the studio.
So what brings you my way, Miss Big Time?
I'm in between jobs right now, and I had a few gigs out here. So I just figured I'd look you up, see how things are coming along.
Oh, very well. We got a big production in a few weeks for a script I wrote. You should stick around and check us out.
A script you wrote.
Yep.
You out here writing scripts?
I don't see why not.
Uh-huh. Well, we'll see. Depends on how the gigs go.
I get it. But since you're in the area now, maybe I can see you perform.
Beats, there's still noticeable tension between the two.
I don't think you'll dig the nightclub scene. You'll be just up saying, we can't keep spending money on the white man's beer. At least get yourself some moonshine.
Uh-huh. You still gunning for that Oscar?
It's $1.10.
Edward and Diane share a laugh, but Diane seems this is a chance to exit.
Well, take it.
Diane walks towards the door.
Diane,
Diane stops and turns around.
why did you really stop by?
I guess. I never thought I would say this, but I'm proud of you.
Really?
Don't expect me to say that again.
Edward shakes his head.
I'll tell you, you are a hard woman, Miss Spears.
And you are an NAACP-ass Negro, Mr. Foster.
Beat. Edward cannot help but laugh. Diane shakes her head and chuckles a bit too.
I'll see you soon, Diane.
Diane smirks at Edward before leaving. Edward walks around the space beaming with pride as the lights fade. Suddenly he gets uneasy as he hears some singing in the distance. The actor walks on stage dressed as if he is in a chain gang and walks to the other side of the stage.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
The actor stops at Edward and makes direct eye contact with him, smirking, before walking off stage and finishing the song.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Edward looks on troubled as the singing ceases. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 2. Later that week. Edward, Mabel, John James, and Dolores and Sam are in the studio rehearsing scenes from the play, with some other students in the vicinity. Dolores is rehearsing the last part of her monologue, and Edward is observing closely on book.
She's my sister. Not by birth, but God still dropped her on my doorstep. I know it ain't my business, but I gotta tell her what I saw. I need to.
Dolores blanks out on her lines.
Wait, damn.
Line. Remember, you can still call line.
Line.
I need to. Their lives are in danger.
Oh yeah. I need to. Their lives are in danger.
Good. You're doing good. Don't second guess yourself, Dolores. Remember, focus in and block the noise.
Yes, Mr. Foster.
Dolores goes back to her seat. Mabel gives her a reassuring pat while John James rolls his eyes. Sam looks as if he's in deep thought.
What do you mean by block the noise?
Doubt. Other people's opinion. Shoot, what your landlord said to you before you left the apartment building. Anything that gets in the way of your performance.
What's the biggest thing we should look out for?
Edward looks at his watch.
Look in the mirror.
Edward gets up and grabs some flyers off of his desk.
All right, you guys, keep going. I gotta put some flyers up near the station. I'll be back in a little while. Mabel and Sam, pick up from page 49.
All right.
Edward exits. Mabel and Sam head towards the set. They get in their places and do the scene while Dolores and John James look on. They have the space set up with a table and a chair.
We can't go back to the way things were.
And why not?
We in the north now, baby. We finally got a chance to make something of ourselves out here.
Up here.
Up here.
And what about me? What about my say in the matter? They don't like us anymore up here by the look of it. At least when we're down in the south, I knew who my enemies were.
Baby, just give me another month. Things will come together.
Turn around.
Turn around. Things will turn around.
For you?
For us. Because you better believe that wherever I'm going, I want you right there with me.
Okay. Okay. 1 month.
I won't make you regret it, baby.
Sam acts like he's leaving the house, leaving Mabel to stand in her place in deep thought. After a beat, Dolores stands up and claps along with other students. John James follows, but not nearly as enthusiastically.
Great job, guys.
Yeah, y'all are getting there.
Getting there. If that's not there, then they're never gonna show up.
Do you have to cut me off? Mr. Foster always gives notes at the end.
I'm not Mr. Foster.
You ain't lying about that.
Oh, yeah? Then how?
Can y'all stop cockfighting and reverse the next scene, please?
The remarks stopped Sam and John James in their tracks. Dolores can barely retain her laughter. Left without a choice, John James and Sam get in their places for the next scene.
You got the money?
Not yet, but you know I'm good for it.
Your bum ass ain't been good for nothing since you came up from dirt.
John James starts walking around Sam. He's in character, but a little more intense than usual.
Be easy on me, man. Work's been slow.
Nico, how slow? I seen you just last week buying some food. Now, where that money come from, huh?
Well, we can't starve.
Well, we can't starve, huh? How about this?
John James makes a shape of a gun with his jacket.
Fetch me my money by 7 p.m. tonight. Or you won't see the morning, you little storm buzzer.
Sam breaks away from John James, leaving him confused.
Boom. You're dead.
You ain't had to grab me like that.
Like what?
All rough. We just practicing right now. Chill out.
Please. You just killed the scene like my character would have killed you. And for what?
Dolores steps in, taking up for Sam.
You're always rough on him, ever since we started.
I can speak for myself, Ella.
I'm not going to be any rougher than they'll be out there.
Yeah? Okay.
John James shakes his head.
To think we're going to be up for parts together. And you still ain't learned a damn thing about being a good scene partner.
Look who's talking. You walking around here like you made it. You still here with us. You ain't big time.
Can we just rehearse, please?
Nah, that boy got something to say. You really think you're going to get somewhere because Mr. Foster decided to have pity on
I
me?
don't need no pity. My parents shipped me here from Jamaica when I was a baby. I fought for everything. I had to fight my whole life.
Well, you kissing ass now.
Shut up, John James.
Sam walks around to calm herself down.
You really think you got a shot? You really think those big shots and producers are going to ever give you the time of day? You ain't had no training, no practice since your ass stumbled in here like a wino Saturday night. You don't stand a chance out there. It's bad enough we colored, but if it comes down between me or you, I'm snatching anything you ever thought about getting. Anybody gonna even know you existed by the time I'm through with your reject ass. You ain't nothing. And you ain't gonna never be nothing.
Sam punches John James hard. The impact makes him stagger to the floor. Dolores and Mabel try holding Sam off, but once he sees that John James won't fight back, he relents. Sam looks around and exits without a word.
Sam, wait!
Dolores runs up to the front door but looks back at John James.
All this time, and you still ain't good for nothing but beating your gums.
Dolores exits.
See how he just hauls off like a coward?
You weren't exactly struggling to put your glass jaw back together before.
I'd kick his ass down the block.
Knock yourself out.
Beat. John James thinks about it, but wisely declines to give chase.
Why are you always defending him?
Better question, why do you feel so threatened by him?
Correct?
Beat. John James chuckles a bit before getting serious.
I need to be the one, nigga.
The one what?
The one to make it. Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, Gable, and Bogey, they put butts in seats. All you gotta do is just say one of their names, and people can drum up 5 films apiece that they've been in. And you wanna know what else they got in common? Ain't none of them is color.
And what's your point?
They only gonna let so many of us make it big out there, and I gotta be the one. I'm not gonna die out there doing uppity community theater. It's bad enough that they ain't shit to do up in Boston. Hell, the only colors people know about from where I'm from were from centuries ago. I ain't about to piss away too many more years without getting my shot.
That's what Mr. Foster is building us up to do. People are going to see this play. Don't you think there's going to be someone willing to give you your shot?
John James isn't convinced.
Well, who's to say that he's just in it for himself? And what exactly has he trained us to do? Fight for civil rights? What are we gonna do when we're out in California and we gotta choose between having dignity or an empty stomach?
How about doing something for ourselves, huh? Building up our own theater, putting out our own shows, our own films.
Yeah? And who's to say you wouldn't just wind up being somebody's mammy in a film?
Mabel is stunned. John James is even shocked by his words, but remains undeterred. Mabel steps to him.
What did you say?
Somebody's mammy.
Mabel slaps John James.
Damn it, Mabel!
You ain't got no mother? No sister? What gives you the right to say that to me?
That's how it is. I don't make the rules. But if I make it, maybe it could change.
It ain't gotta just be one.
Mabel, I'd take anything to get out there. Do you even know what that means? That means we can't afford to be choosy like some people would have us be. That's why it's gotta be me. Because y'all don't
You
understand.
think you gotta work hard? I have to work twice as hard than you ever could. Damn it, I have to work twice as hard just to be taken seriously. You will always have a chance to break out. Hell, they might even accept you as a lead one day. But me, I already know what they're trying to give me out there. So what gives you the right to throw that back in my face? What gives you the right to try and push everyone else down when we already have to fight just to try and stand up?
Mabel's words are sticking and she knows it.
You know what? You may work your way to the top, but you ain't never gonna have no friends up there. You go ahead and you do whatever it takes to get there. But you listen to me when I tell you, John James, you're gonna be lonely as hell sitting in your trailer. I hope you find that inner strength one day, because right now, you're weak. And they're gonna smell that weakness before you even walk through those doors.
Mabel storms to the door to leave.
We're a team. And the only way we're gonna succeed is if everyone realizes that.
Mabel exits, leaving John James to his thoughts. He massages his chin, straightens himself up, and exits. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 3. A few weeks later, and about an hour before the show, Diane Spears is getting ready to perform at the Velvet Sunroom, a somewhat integrated nightclub on the other side of town. She's on stage, back to the audience, waiting for her cue. Live at the Velvet Sunroom for her final night, the lovely Negro singer Diane Spears. The audience give her applause. She snaps her fingers and gives a rousing rendition of a period-style song.
Until you felt still my heart high as the moon.
Once she finishes, the audience room roars in applause. She moves over to another part of the stage to a makeshift dressing room. It's a piss poor with a mirror and a chair and a mop bucket that gives it the appearance of a storage closet. Diane is at the leading of a man with a brim hat and a dark suit that appears to be her manager.
You were great. Astounding.
They have a great way of showing affection. I ought to haul out of here. It's like I'm gonna catch pneumonia.
Diane sits down, trying to do what she can to adjust some of her makeup.
It ain't that bad. It has a certain flair.
It has something, all right.
Come on. You should be happy, baby.
You ain't the one putting out for Miss Ann and Mr. Charlie every night.
They ain't gotta be the only ones.
He gets closer to her. Diane is uncomfortable.
I'm splitting. Starting to feel a draft from all this flame.
She gets up.
Come on. Give Papa some shoulder.
No,
Just this one time.
there ain't gonna be no time.
Diane shoves him, but before she gets too far, the manager blocks her.
Hey, I'm the one that got you this gig. If it weren't for me, you'd be shaking ass in that grass skirt. I saved you. Shit, I made you. Now, how about you go show some appreciation?
Negro what?
Before you go where the wagon comes, how about you thank me proper for taking care of you, baby?
The manager extends his cheek.
Right here.
Diane walks up to him seductively.
Right there, Big Daddy.
Oh yeah, sweetheart.
When she gets close enough, he puckers his lips. Instead of kissing him, she knees him down in the south. Diane grabs her manager's face to keep him from fully doubling over in pain.
That may work on one of those grass skirt hussies, but you're working with grade A quality here, baby. I deserve better.
He groans, and Diane moves him out of the way before grabbing her belongings and exiting. leaving her presumably former manager to get his bearings. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 4. Concurrently, back in Harlem, Edward walks around with his actors backstage. Dolores is nervous. Everyone else is getting ready.
You okay, Della?
I'm fine. Pre-show ritual.
All right, guys. It's opening night. How are you feeling?
Woo!
Everyone is startled.
There you go. Get it all out.
I got my whole family coming. Who do you have coming?
I wish I knew.
Dolores comforts Mabel.
How many folks are out there?
Don't matter if it's the right people.
What matters is that you guys give your all, whether it's 5 or 500.
His words sink in. Edward uses this as an opportunity to rally everyone.
Everyone come here.
They gather around Edward.
We are making history tonight. We have the chance to show everyone out there that we're here to stay. Take your rejections, your discriminations, anyone that ever told you that you don't deserve to be where you are right now. Let that fuel you, you hear?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it then.
The cast is hyped up now as they go off stage. Mabel was the last to leave, but she turns around and looks up at Edward.
I know you said it doesn't matter, but did you really get some big timers to come?
You'll find out. But with the work y'all put in, I didn't have to do much convincing.
Thank you.
Of course. Now go on. Get to places.
Mabel smiles at Edward as she goes off stage. Edward pulls out a letter from his pocket and reads it.
Son, I'm so proud of you. You better go ahead putting on your own shows. Remember, you got something inside of you that can't nobody take away from you. You don't, and dare settle. Never in life.
Edward wipes his eyes.
You know, me and your father would be there if we could. I went on down to the doctor, and they said that I could probably start traveling again as soon, like next year. So you better give me an encore, young man. All right now, take care of yourself and break a leg, or whatever it is they say.
Edward chuckles a bit.
With love, Mama.
Chuckling a bit, Edward kisses the letter and puts it in his pocket. He rushes off stage. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 5. Showtime. Dolores and Mabel are sitting at the table in the makeshift kitchen, while John James and Sam are wielding guns pointed at each other, while Edward is sitting off to the side, eagerly waiting for his pupils.
Y'all don't have to do this.
Then tell them to bring me my money.
You threw that away the moment you barged in and pointed a gun at my wife.
But right now, it's on you. And I want my money.
Look,
Mabel gets up from her seat and tries to reason with both of them.
What good is this gonna do? One of you shoots and the other one is better off dead.
Honey, I got this.
Honey, you are colored. The only thing you got is a target on your back.
That's right. Soften his ass up.
Listen here, you.
No, you listen.
John James grabs Mabel and puts a gun to her head. Mabel looks a little confused, as does the rest of the cast, but they go with it. Mabel strains.
Oh my
What
lord.
the hell are you doing?
Give me the money.
Let her go!
I will, once I get my money.
I ain't playing, you sick bastard.
Stop, Sam. Don't agitate him.
In the midst of the chaos on stage, Diane Spears enters from the other side of the theater to sit in an empty seat. Edward notices her and is happy. Completely in the moment, Mabel brings it to home.
Honey,
Sam looks intently at Mabel, but doesn't shift his aim.
Remember me.
Sam looks confused, but Mabel breaks John James' grip, causing him to shoot her.
No!
Sam retaliates by emptying the clip to John James, causing him to fall back and die dramatically. Sam rushes to Mabel, holding her in his arms with Dolores in tow. Mabel caresses Sam's cheek as he's holding back tears.
Do right by me, sweetheart.
I will.
Mabel fades while Sam cries over her dead body. After the lights fade, applause is heard. The lights come back on after a beat. All the actors are off center stage as they bow. Edward and Diane stand up and cheer them on. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 6. The play is over. Edward walks out with his cast.
I'm proud of y'all. Now go enjoy the fruits of your labor.
oh, trust us, we will.
Dolores, John James, and Mabel run off. Sam sticks behind.
Thanks for taking a chance on me, Mr. Buster.
Thank you for trusting me, Sam. You already had the talent. You just needed the outlet.
Sam takes a compliment in stride.
You really think I have a shot to make it big?
I know you do. Just do me a favor.
Yeah.
Keep staying hungry. For the right stuff. If you do that, there's no telling what you could do.
They shake hands before Sam joins everyone else in the main lobby. The cast are shaking hands and talking to different people while Edward makes his way over to Diane.
Well, Miss Spears, glad to see that you weren't busy.
I didn't have much to occupy my time.
Beat. Edward fishes for a little more.
You should be proud. They did good work.
I am. I just wonder how long all of this will last.
How about you enjoy something for a change?
Edward and Diane talk for a bit, but then things go pitch black. A spotlight appears on Sam, and he steps forward.
And you said you've only been acting for how long? Trust me, kid, you're going places. You look like you could still play high school, too. I got something just for you.
Sam steps back. Another spotlight then appears on Mabel, and she steps forward.
You were absolutely delightful. I have a role in this Broadway show for you.
Mabel steps back. A spotlight now appears over Dolores, and she steps forward.
You sure got some pipes on you, girl. Can you sing?
Dolores steps back. Then another spotlight appears, this time over Edward. He steps forward, hesitant.
You did this. I'll be damned. You know this role would be perfect for you. It'll be a way for us to reintroduce you to the new generation. You'd be
Edward turns his back on the spotlight and walks towards Diane. Then one more spotlight appears above John James, and he steps forward.
You know what? A spot just opened up for you. Come meet with some of our producers down the hall.
John James takes a step back. Everything proceeds as normal.
How did it go?
I said no.
Negro-wide!
They mean more to me now.
Edward catches John James fixing himself up and making his way to their end of the lobby.
And I think they need me now more than ever.
Edward stops John James before he walks past him.
Hey, man. Where are you off to in such a hurry?
I'll tell you later. Destiny awaits.
Just a minute.
Edward takes a breath.
Can't this wait?
No, but I won't be long.
John James pauses for a moment to listen to Edward.
I want you to think about what you're getting into here.
John James rolls his eyes.
Here we go.
You need to think about this.
Think about what? Having a chance to finally make a name for myself? Get out of my way.
John, this role isn't what you want.
How could you ever know what I want?
Just trust me.
John James pushes Edward away. This causes a stir in the lobby.
I'm not going to end up irrelevant like you.
John James walks off stage while the lobby slowly gets its buzz back. Edward's students and Diane rally around him, but his focus averts to the actor. He appears in the back. The actor takes a puff from a cigarette and walks off stage. Edward shifts his attention back to his students and Diane.
Don't listen to Mr. Foster.
She's right. He's always been in it for himself.
Well, at least he didn't push you to the ground.
Dolores, Mabel, and Sam look at Diane.
I was just saying.
Edward collects himself.
It's all right.
Edward walks for a second in deep thought.
It's y'all big night. Y'all deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Edward walks away from everyone, leaving the rest of this cast and Diane to themselves. They look at Diane to try to figure out what to do. She sees now that they need direction.
Y'all heard what the man said. Now go work the room like your lives depend on it.
They scatter. Diane looks off in the direction John James took off in.
There's always gotta be one.
Now she looks where Edward stormed away.
It's not your fault. You gotta know that.
Diane walks off stage. Blackout. Act 3, Scene 1, 1963. There is a blackout. The phone rings until it gets picked up. Dolores' voice is heard.
Foster's actor training? Yes. Yes, we're aware of that. We've been under some financial hardship, but a payment will be made at the end of the month. Yes, we can confirm. Thank you for the extension. Yes, you too.
Lights up. The theater space is mostly bare. Dolores is sitting at a desk with a phone and some notepads. The phone rings and she answers.
Foster's actor training?
Once Dolores realizes who's on the other end, the tone shifts. The mood suddenly becomes more somber.
Oh, hello. Yes, we received your last couple of calls. I understand. Yes, I understand, but we really can't right now. No, we just don't have the capacity to. Please, know that we have tried.
Edward comes through the front door. He has a slight gray in his hair. He makes eye contact with Dolores on the phone and listens to the conversation.
This isn't easy for us either. I'll relay your message to Mr. Foster and we'll see what we can do. Okay? Just try to take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Dolores hangs up the phone.
John James,
Yep.
Edward sighs.
how do you sound?
He's definitely getting worse. He sounded even more jittery than the last time.
Edward rubs his face and feels for his former student.
How much can we send him?
Honestly, it's either help him again or keep the lights on, Mr. Foster.
I understand.
Beat. Edward, though disappointed, accepts the answer. Dolores notices.
I wish things could have been.
You think Sam has a shot to win tonight?
I sure hope so. Never thought I'd see a black man get nominated for Best Actor in my lifetime.
Mine's either.
Dolores and Edward share a laugh. Beat.
I'm proud of you all, Dolores. Remember that. Y'all done went ahead and took the steps to make a name for yourselves.
Just remember that we couldn't have done it without you. I still would have been the same little girl that couldn't keep her focus if it wasn't for you.
I don't know about that.
Well, I do.
Dolores hugs Edward and prepares to leave.
I have to go meet Mabel for rehearsal. First off, please pray that we find a new director before we open. Second, I can be here for the whole day tomorrow.
Dolores, you know I never sweat the hours.
I know, but someone's got to take care of you.
Dolores heads for the door. She stops and looks at him, a little concerned.
I'll be all right. Honest.
Edward smiles reassuringly as Dolores leaves. Once he's alone, he walks around the space, almost as if he's reminiscing. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door.
Come in.
Diane walks in, carrying an envelope. Edward's back is turned so he doesn't see her yet.
I don't normally do walk-in appointments, but I can make an exception.
Edward pauses as soon as he meets Diane's eyes. She smiles.
Mama always says to leave him speechless.
Holding my tongue on that.
Beat.
You got a funny way of calling people back.
I figured you'd appreciate the real deal.
Edward looks away, indifferent. Diane brushes off the dissonance.
Anyway, I come bringing good tidings.
She holds out an envelope in Edward's direction. He takes it.
What did you pull?
Just read it.
Edward tears the envelope open and reads it.
Hello, Mr. Foster. Our production team has found memories of you gracing the screen some time ago, and we would like to offer you a guest starring role in an up-and-coming episode of The Andy Griffith Show. We're aiming to take our show in a new direction and have some fresh faces. You'll be playing a sharecropper with the potential for an expanded role in the future. Let us know what you think.
Edward mulls this over.
See? They're having a lot of us bounce around and do different shows. Kind of like testing the waters. They may even start putting us in the movies again, like back when Dex was here.
Yeah? And why didn't they get Dex?
Well, they ran him out of the country and called him a communist, remember?
They build you up, and then they tear you down.
Well, what about Sam? He's doing well for himself.
Sam is a damn unicorn. 1 out of a million. Lightning ain't gonna strike twice.
Well, call yourself Benjamin Franklin. What are you gonna do?
Beat. Diane sees where this conversation could lead.
Something tells me that you're not too grateful for this.
I just don't know, Diane.
Eddie, you have nothing to lose. Well, except for this place if you can't make rent.
I'm fine.
No, you're stubborn as hell. Look, you did things your way. You helped people, and I'm proud of your ass. But you have to start looking out for your own career.
My career? My career would be in the hands of some vultures. Vultures that will circle around any poor sap who has dreams about going over and making it big without reading the fine print. Oh, you can only go so far unless you beat it into your thick skull that we know more about being colored than you.
Now, before you go blowing your top, why don't you just sit down and think about this?
I ain't got nothing to think about.
Come on, don't be crazy.
Nothing!
Edward occupies himself by moving around, tidying up the space.
Eddie, I just don't get you. You're over here staring poverty in the face and not giving a good old damn. If you want to survive, you've got to give a little to get ahead. I understand where you're coming from.
How? When have you ever fought back? When have you ever drawn a line?
Edward crosses Diane, but not before she trips him.
I see you're hurting, and that's why I'm gonna let you off easy. You have no idea what I've done to survive. Directors trying to get me into their bed, always being told that I'm not light enough, getting felt up when I'm supposed to be fitted for wardrobe. Or what about this? Getting top billing after James Mason, after I finish every single scene, they just treat me like a second-hand citizen. And when the set is done, they act like I don't even exist. You don't know shit.
Edward looks at Diane remorsefully.
Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult you.
Diane takes a beat and exhales.
It gets hard, Eddie. You're over here waging your war, trying to fight it your way, trying to get yourself out of quicksand. But your fight is not the only fight that means something. Fighting these battles day in and day out, putting my mama in a decent home, and I'd be damned if I let anybody take that away from me.
Beat. After a while, Diane holds the leather back out to Edward.
Just give me some time to think about it.
Edward walks over to the prop table and leans on it.
Nothing I can do to speed up the decision?
Edward shakes his head.
I see.
Diane walks towards the exit and leaves the letter on Dolores' desk. She stops before she opens the door and looks back at Edward with a slight reassuring smile.
For what it's worth, I'm pulling for Sam tonight.
Diane leaves. Edward lets out a big sigh. He walks around the space and sees the letter that Diane left. He picks it up and sighs again. He wants to tear it up, but something stops him from doing so. Blackout. Act 3, Scene 2. Edward Foster is watching the Oscars in his bedroom. He's doing his best to stay up to listen to the Best Actor nominees. The announcer reads them off. And the nominees are Albert Finney for Tom Jones, Paul Newman for Hunt, Rex Harrison for Cleopatra, Laurence Olivier for Othello,
Oh, hell.
and Sam Nelson for The Isle of Saint Denis.
Go get him, Tiger.
Before the winner is announced, Edward falls asleep in his bed. As the night goes on, he starts tossing and turning. The actor appears at the foot of his bed, studying him. He is wearing a colorful suit with a period-style hat. Edward slowly rises, rubbing his face, eventually making eye contact with his unexpected visitor. Who? The actor's presence startles Edward, his fear feeding the actor. He laughs at Edward and crosses down stage.
What the hell are you doing here?
Hoping that you'll see things from my way for a change.
What?
I don't like to hear myself.
Too bad.
Edward gets up from his bed and slowly walks over to the actor.
What the hell are you doing here?
Showing you what you're missing out on.
And what would that be?
What you could be. You know you always wanted to be me deep down. Making some loot. All of your students are out here surpassing you. Hell, look at me. I'm on every screen in America.
All right. What about that to do?
Now you cook with some gas. Here.
The actor crosses in front of Edward to his dresser. He grabs a letter and reads from it. Edward is exasperated.
Dear Mr. Foster,
Stop!
our production team has fond memories of you gracing the screen some time ago, and we would like to offer you the guest starring role of upcoming episode of The Andy Griffith
I
Show.
done already told you.
You will be playing a sharecropper.
Edward grabs the letter and motions to rip it.
You and I both know that right there is your only shot.
Why does this have to be my shot?
Why does this have to be my shot? Come on, you're a sharecropper, not a baby.
Edward is getting fed up with the actor now.
Get the hell out of here.
Is that how you treat your guests? Maybe I should go ask Diane.
I said get out.
Edward grabs the actor and they struggle briefly. Once the actor's hat falls off, he slaps Edward. Edward staggers back a bit, as if he was hit harder than ever, dropping the leather.
That right there is what you call a reality check. This suit right here costs more than this rat trap you call home. And this,
The actor picks up the letter and holds it in front of Edward's face.
this is going to be your way out. This is your chance to be relevant again.
Edward smacks the letter out of the actor's hand.
I don't need that.
The actor laughs.
I guess you need another reality check.
Edward gets in a fighting stance. The actor shakes his head.
Negro, I feel thieves. You fill out job applications. We ain't the same.
Edward relaxes a little.
I got me a house over in West Adams next to me, in Rochester. I got 2 pools, 2 kitchens, and plenty more room for all my women. You and I both know that deep down you wish you had my life, but you're just too damn proud for your own good. Walking around thinking that you can keep this train from rolling, when all you gotta do is find the right car and hop on. Make this shit work for you, so you can get what you deserve.
At what cost? You got kids coming after us. They gotta be chasing a dream that they can't do this shit. We want them dreaming to be cab drivers, hustlers, and maids.
I'm making sure that they're playing maids instead of becoming them. What are you doing?
You ain't gonna shame me for how I live my life. I wouldn't change anything.
Do you even got change in your pocket?
Well, I got some things you ain't got.
Like what?
A soul.
Ha, nice try. You're gonna say the same thing about Sam Davis Jr. He out here killing the game and giving Negroes a chance to shine. Next.
I got dignity.
The actor looks around, waiting for more.
And
Respect.
The actor looks shocked for a second.
respect.
The actor laughs a moment, even falling on the bed. Eventually, he looks at a stone-faced Edward and snaps out of his laughter.
Hey, respect? What you gonna do with respect? Nigga, your rent is due. Oh, hey, Mr. Landlord, I got some respect.
Edward walks away from the actor and sits on his bed, dejected.
And you wanna eat a plate full of respect? Maybe wash it down with a sweet taste of dignity? You about the most pitiful person I've ever seen in my life.
Edward puts his face in his hands.
You're all alone, chasing after some wind that ain't ever gonna blow your way. And if that's what respect gets you, then good luck keeping warm at night, you ecclesiastical fool.
Feeling that he has Edward on the brink, the actor heads for the door. Edward looks up.
Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless.
This stops the actor in his tracks.
What?
As goods increase, so do those who consume them. And what benefit are they to the owners except to feast their eyes on them? The sleep of a laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much. But as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep.
You made your point, whatever.
I have seen a grievous evil under the sun, wealth hoarded to the harm of its owners, or wealth lost through some misfortune.
This ain't no church.
So that when they have children, there is nothing left for them to inherit. Everyone comes naked from their mother's womb, and as everyone comes, so they depart. They take nothing from their toil that they can carry in their hands.
What the hell are you even talking about?
The next chapter of Ecclesiastes, fool. Now, who's the fool? You want to stroll up in here and put down my choices? Because they're not lucrative? Because it alienated me? Or because I bet on myself? It ain't about the money they give you, if the value and equity don't come with it. Look, I know I gotta eat, but I'm not taking the scraps if I know I deserve a steak. See, if I make it, I'm gonna do it my way. And if anyone that comes after me looks up to me, they're gonna find someone who tried to do it a different way.
The actor seeks to knock Edward down a peg.
Ah, I see. You think you're better, huh? You think you're all big.
Edward slaps the actor back, staggering him a little.
Not better. I just recognize that my reality can be different.
Beat. Edward is building his confidence back. The actor looks around and claps his hands.
Very good. You really do got the skills. Too bad that won't pay the bills.
The actor takes out a pink letter from his jacket and hands it to Edward. Edward looks confused for a moment, but opens it with the actor looking over his shoulder. After a few moments, Edward looks up, stunned.
3 more days until I lose the theater.
Edward is heartbroken.
Starting to set in for you now? Or do you want to jump salty some more? Bottom line, you want to go somewhere in this business and pay your bills? You gotta make some sacrifices.
The actor walks back to the door and turns around before he exits.
Gilpin would understand.
The actor exits, leaving Edward alone with his thoughts. He looks around, picks up the offer letter, and sits in his bed. He looks at both letters and vacillates, distraught, blackout. Act 3, Scene 3. The next morning, Dolores and Mabel are having a conversation at the studio.
You know they still got us rehearsing today?
I know. You would think after last night it would be a national holiday for us.
Surely, but I'll wait here for you. How much longer until quitting time?
Give me about an hour. I'm trying to hold out for Mr. Foster. We gotta settle some accounts before the end of the week.
Mabel senses that Dolores is keeping busy to distract from something.
How's he doing?
Holding on. He borders between optimism and straight up depression.
And you?
Do I look worried?
Girl, how long have we been friends?
Beat. Dolores can't help but reminisce of the simpler times.
Sometimes I miss how simple things were back when we were all playing around, doing scenes, and not having to worry about anything else.
I understand, but at least it got us all somewhere. Or at least most of us.
Dolores looks at Mabel.
What keeps you going, Mabel?
Mabel ponders over that question.
One of the first things I told y'all back then was, I'm not going back to the South. See, when I was younger, my daddy always said I was going to be something. Or at least I better be, because I always acted out all the time. Mama always said, let the child find a way. She's going to be in someone's picture show one day. So he took part of his pay. He set it aside every week to send me to Fisk. He heard it was a good school that any colored person should go to. He was proud, and he carried himself in a way the whites around town didn't like. He even had the nerve to stand up to a white cashier and try to cheat him at the grocer. So one night, right before I turned 17, they dragged him and my mama out the house. I screamed as loud as I could, but they just looked back and said, don't worry, honey. We're just taking them on a ride. And I ain't never seen them since.
Lord, Mabel.
He saved just enough for me to go through my first year, and the church took care of the rest. After all that time, I still have that seed he put inside me to keep acting out. So that's why I keep going, no matter what.
You held on to that all this time?
Mabel nods her head, and Dolores gives her a hug.
Well, I'm glad you kept going. Lord knows I need a sister like you.
Della, you got 5 brothers and sisters you practically raised. Do you need more?
Hell yeah. Otherwise, it would have just been me, Sam, and John James. Call that TNT.
What does that mean?
Too much testosterone.
They let out a big laugh to ease the heaviness of the moment. After a while, Dolores holds up a letter, thinking about Mr. Foster.
You think he's gonna do it?
I wouldn't blame him.
Mabel comforts Dolores. Edward enters the office. He sees Dolores and Mabel as they anticipate a response from him.
You guys okay?
Why are you excited?
Yeah, I thought you said you'd be happy to see us succeed.
What are y'all talking about? Wait, did he do it?
Yes, he did.
Edward, Mabel, and Dolores all celebrate the fact that Sam won the Oscar. After about celebrating, Edward breaks away.
I'm so proud of that boy.
Edward walks around the space, reminiscent. Mabel and Dolores look on.
So proud.
Edward zones out, but tries to collect himself.
Sorry, y'all. Been, going through.
Edward hangs his jacket.
We know.
And if you decide to do it, we understand.
Edward stops and looks at the students. They look on reassuringly.
All right, Dolores, call up the production studio and let them know that I accept.
The phone rings. Dolores walks over and answers it.
Foster's Acting Academy. My lord, how are you? Wait, what? You do? That would be amazing. I'll be sure to let him know. He is going to flip when he hears this. In fact, here he is.
Dolores takes the phone and holds the receiver.
It's Sam. And Mr. Foster, he's got some news for you.
Edward walks to the phone.
Hey, Sam. Congratulations. I want to say I was watching, but the TV was definitely watching me. Okay. Wait. There? And you said what? You want me? You got yourself a deal. I'll see you soon.
Edward hangs up the phone.
Turns out he was offered to finish out the remainder of the Hansberry play. And turns out he said he'd only do it if I would direct the show.
What? Mr. Foster, you are Broadway bound.
Oh, Lord.
Edward starts crying tears of joy and hugs his students.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for believing in me.
Thank you for believing in us.
That's right, Mr. Foster.
Blackout. Act 3, Scene 4. Several months later, on Broadway, Sam is meeting guests as they come in, and they're ecstatic to see him. Suddenly, Edward comes up to Sam.
All right, Sam. We need you at places.
I'm on my way. You know the producers are trying to milk me for all I'm worth.
Who you telling?
They out here acting like I'm Jesus or something.
As Sam walks away, Edward starts laughing a bit.
What?
Nothing. You just remind me of an old friend. Go ahead. Do your thing, Sam.
Sam takes a few steps and turns around teary-eyed.
Mr. Foster,
Yes, Sam.
thank you for taking the chance on the thief from the top.
This was all you. Thank you for bringing me along for the ride.
No. Thank you for believing in me.
They hug. Sam leaves on so he can get ready for the show. Edward takes a moment and soaks everything in. After a moment, Diane arrives through the front door with another letter in hand.
Miss Spears, pleasure to see you.
Pleasure is all mine, Mr. Foster.
Beat. The tension between them is still thick, but that doesn't keep them from sharing a laugh and a hug.
I'm proud of you. You stuck to your guns and you made it.
You know, I never got to say this. I'm proud of you too.
Diane pulls away, not expecting Edward's compliment.
Really? Why? You wouldn't have done what I've done.
Because I can't. I wasn't meant to. You survived, and your resilience is what kept you around.
Diane takes in the compliment.
You know, we've come a long way from me almost kicking your ass.
They laugh together.
I guess so. What you got this time?
Just some tickets.
Tickets? How many you get?
One for me and two for some special people.
Oh,
An older woman and man, late 70s, enter the building.
Mama? Pop?
Mr. Big Time.
Oh, son.
Edward hugs his mother and father.
Y'all came.
Of course, baby. I'm just happy we could afford the trip this time around.
That's right. You know anything beats a plan.
And your lady friend here did a great job of showing us around and keeping the surprise.
So how did y'all manage to do all this sneaking around?
Easy. By not telling you a damn
Diane looks at Edward's parents and corrects herself.
anything. By not telling you anything.
I like this one, son. More fire than smoke.
I'll keep that in mind.
You got it. We're gonna see ourselves in. And I believe one of you has a show to direct.
Yeah, Mr. Director.
We're right behind you.
Mr. and Mrs. Foster exit and chuckle a bit.
I think they like you.
Of course. I'm easy to like.
After about 15 years of work.
Don't act like you didn't enjoy the process.
Edward is dumbfounded, but somehow he finds a way to collect himself.
How about we enjoy the show?
I see it took your mama and daddy to come for you to finally talk some sense.
I guess so.
Edward opens the door to the theater so Diane can enter. She kisses him on the cheek and grabs his hand before walking in. While Edward goes in, he takes a look around and takes everything in before entering himself. The actor enters, all alone in the lobby. He takes off his hat, looks at the ceiling, then at the theater door.
Not bad, Mr. Big Time. Not bad.
Once he leaves, once he sees that there's nothing left for him to do, he leaves. Blackout. End of play.